let's go straight over to Olympic swimming legend and medalist Sharron Davies. Welcome, Sharron.
Evening, Kevin. How are you?
I'm very, very well. Listen, I want to talk to you about this golfer, Abel Cabrera, who's playing in the Masters tournament right now, one of the great golfing tournaments, in my view, the greatest. And he's come to this tournament after serving 30 months in South American prisons, because he's from Argentina, for beating up women. But it's not so much, well, that's bad enough as it is. It's the attitude of the golfing authorities towards it that I think is cause for some concern. But we'll talk about that in a little while, because only today the Football Association has quietly updated its transgender rules, and I'm sure you're thrilled to know that blokes will continue to be allowed to kick the hell out of women in women's football. Trans women can carry on playing real women in soccer. Yesterday, a feminist campaigner who's been on our show a few times called Jean Hatchett, she posted a picture on Twitter, on X, of one of her friends, a female footballer, who's a terrible bruises all over her legs, terribly swollen. And she said some bloke had done this. It was a trans woman footballer who, there they are, there's the pictures. So your thoughts on the fact that this can now continue courtesy of the wonderful Football Association?
Yeah, well, just dismay and disappointment as per usual. It's the FA, isn't it? The FA have never had the back of women's footballers ever, and they still haven't got the back of them. I mean, to say that they are going to, keep this under advisement is just a cop-out. I mean, they're suggesting reducing testosterone to 5 nanomole. Well, that's 5 times what most females have, including elite athletes. There's no checking system in place. It's only got to be checked once a year, and it's only got to be done 12 months before you start playing. So once someone's gone through puberty, there is no I'm cooking that egg. It's already been cooked. They've created all the benefits. They're taller, they have bigger hands, they're more explosive. And what we find is a lot of the transgender athletes are in the goal where they can make the biggest difference, because obviously they're taller, they can fill the goal, and they can jump, much more dynamic. So it's cheating, all right? There's no other word for it than cheating. There is a place in football for absolutely everybody, and all you have to do is just play by sex like every other sport. We saw pool this week as well. We had a major pool competition, and we had 16 players. The final 2 were both males. They won more money combined than the other 14 women put together. And women only get 4% of the sponsorship dollar in the world of sport, across the world of sport. Okay, 4%, that's all they get. And now they're not even allowed to win that anymore. Last year, we had $1.6 million were taken away from women's prize money by men. And they're men, all right? You can call them trans women. They're not. They're trans-identifying males. That's what they are. And they will always be male, no matter what they want to call themselves, and no matter what they think they are, no matter how long they grow their hair or what clothes they put on, they are biologically male. And it's just so very unfair when women have such a small piece of the cake and they have to work so hard to get that. And I can tell you now, my hand on my heart, Kevin, so many young girls are self-excluding because they don't want to end up with legs like you've just shown. They don't want to end up with knee injuries. They don't want to end up, getting an injury which might potentially end their sporting career. Or they just don't want to be made uncomfortable in changing rooms. They just don't want it. So they're not doing it. And parents as well are pulling their kids out of the sport too, which is also really sad because they don't want to see their daughters injured.
Well, the FA, the chief executive, Mark Bullingham, seems to be very pleased with what they call the new amended rules, which basically still allow trans women, blokes, to play football against women. But on certain individual cases, they'll review it and decide whether or not that particular...
You and I know that they won't do that, right? Yeah. So if you've got a person, they're never going to side against that person. They're just not, it's not going to happen. So it won't change. I mean, they're saying 20. We know that's not true as well. We know for a fact they've actually okayed at least 75 males to play in the female game. So at the moment, we don't have any on any professional teams, but we have quite a lot of them in sort of semi-professional leagues where where it makes a big difference. And we've also got trans-identifying males that are now running clubs, and they are then trying to stack their team full of males to play other females.
It's just absurd.
Ridiculous.
I mean, when they say But when the FA says, oh, we're going to do it on a case-by-case basis and all that, and they seem to think this is a great step forward. Mark Bullingham, the chief executive of the FA, on his alleged new transgender policy, he said we are now broadly in the right place. Well, no, I would say,
They're most definitely in the wrong place, Kevin. And what they're saying is that they're going to go and send somebody down to watch the game. So if you are a trans-identifying male and you're told there's now somebody from the FA watching to see if you are more powerful and more dynamic than the females on the pitch, what are you going to do?
Well, you're going to rail back your...
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. You're going to play a very light game. But the point is, there's only one broadly in the right place direction to go, or not broadly, the right way to go, and that is to ban trans women from playing against women.
We don't want to ban them. We just want to say to them, play with other males.
Well, that's what I meant. Ban them from playing biological women.
We just want to say the category is biological female, just the same as when we say the category is under 16s or the category is under 10s. You know, we do not allow a 16-year-old to identify as a 10-year-old and go and play with a 10-year-old. So we do not allow a heavyweight boxer to identify as a bantamweight and go and beat the hell out of a bantamweight. We have categories for a very, very sensible, obvious reason. It's the same with parasports. You know, it's the same across the whole of the sporting world. We have that so we can offer equality to everybody and an opportunity. Sure. And it's just women that are losing out because it doesn't go the other way.
Of course,
show me all the women that are identifying as men.
No, it never goes the other way. So now that Seb Coe didn't make it to become the president of the International Olympic Committee, does that mean at the next Olympics we're going to see that domestic violence championship again, where blokes climb into the ring and beat the hell out of women? Are we going to have to watch that again now?
No, I think we won't, because I think that the spectacle in Paris was so awful, and the IOC came out of that so badly, you know, and it was a travesty. It really was a very serious injury waiting to happen. A male can punch 160% harder than a female onto a less dense bone structure. So that genuinely was, you know, a very, very serious accident that could have happened. I think also we've got Trump, who's saying that he's not going to allow any males to be in female sport. I think the IOC do not want that whole situation to arise again. We've obviously just had Seb that's turned around and said he's bringing back cheap swab tests. So what they do is it takes 10 seconds, right? It's a cotton wool bud to the inside of your cheek. Yeah. You have it once in your lifetime because human beings cannot change their sex. And that protects the female sex. And that's what he's going to do with track and field. So I'm very much hoping that will come in for all sport at the Olympic Games in LA. But I'm hoping between Seb and Trump, that LA will be, you know, a fair Olympic Games and we won't have any more travesties. And then hopefully even the FA will have to eventually do the right thing and protect their female athletes.
It was so upsetting watching those poor women getting beaten up by blokes. As I said, it was like kind of the first time that domestic violence became an Olympic competition, an Olympic sport. Unbelievable.
And we've had quite a lot of injuries in other sports as well. You know, we've even had cricketers in this country, because the ECB is almost as bad as the FA. So they protect the elite, but they don't protect the pathways or junior. We've had 40-year-old men bowling at 13-year-old girls. One girl got her arm broken. We've had broken necks in America in volleyball, where the net is lower, but we've had males spiking into women. I mean, we could give you, honestly, I could give you a list as long as your arm of injuries that we've already had. We haven't had a death yet, right? And that is the disgusting thing that they're almost waiting for. Well, I mean, we've had some very, very serious injuries.
Well, it'll be pretty disgusting if we have to wait for somebody to be killed for something sensible to happen in this area. Let's get on to the Masters golf competition. I'm a bit of a golf fan. Now, Angel Cabrera, he's getting on a bit now, but he won the Masters competition, the championship, back in 2009, and as such all winners of the Masters are allowed to participate every year for the rest of their lives if they want to. Now he's come back after a few years away, and one of the reasons he's been away was that in 2021 he was found guilty of numerous charges that included assault, theft, and the illegal intimidation of his former girlfriend. So he was a serial woman beater, and he did 30 months in jail. Now, my view on that, he served his time. I guess playing golf is his career. If you can go back to your career and you've done your time, then, you know, I suppose I could go along with that, and I think I might be a bit sort of prejudiced here because I was a big admirer of Cabrera. But so he's playing in this tournament. A lot of critics have said he should have been banned, but it's not so much that issue that worries me. It's the attitude, and this plays into the attitude towards women in sport. The Masters chairman, called Fred Ridley, he called Cabrera one of our great champions, which he is, and he says he's been unable to participate in the Masters for the last couple of the years due to, ready? Legal issues. We certainly wish him... listen to this. We certainly wish him the best of luck with that, and we'll definitely welcome him back if he's able to straighten out those legal issues. It's the attitude betrayed in that statement. Doesn't really matter about the women. He's a great golfer. Let's hope he sorts out that little problem of going to jail for 30 months for beating up women.
Yeah, of grievous bodily harm. I think it was 3 women, wasn't it, that actually complaints that eventually he ended up doing, prison time for. Yeah. I'm hoping he's extremely uncomfortable and embarrassed by the whole thing. I mean, I'm a little bit with you on this as well. I mean, I would like to have seen him being given a longer sentence. I don't think that they're getting, long enough sentence for beating up women. But then look what's happening in this country. We're letting out paedophiles and women beaters all the time. I mean, do you know that 1 woman every 10 minutes dies in this world at the moment by their partner killing them?
Really?
We lose 2.5 women every week in this country alone. And that is the women that are murdered, all right? That isn't the women that are beaten up or coerced. That's just those that are murdered. So it's a huge problem, Kevin.
But are you okay with him being in this tournament? What's your view?
What I would say is when someone has done their time, if they were a dentist or a doctor or a dustman or whoever they were, whatever their job was, then you would expect them to be able to go back to their job afterwards. You can't keep penalising them continually. Yeah. Just that this person seems, is in a very high-profile situation. I just hope that they're making it uncomfortable for him, and that people aren't really giving him an awful lot of time of the day. But like you, I kind of think that if he served his time, he served his time. Yeah.
You're right. It's an uncomfortable situation. It's not so much. I kind of think, in the end, like you, that he should be allowed to resume his career. But it's this sort of attitude. Oh, he's had a few little legal issues. It's a bit more than that, and it just plays into the inferior way that women are treated in sport, and we've got to do something about it, and you're doing as much as any human being can do on that front, Sharron. Always a pleasure to talk to you. Thank you so much for your time. The great Sharron Davies, their Olympic medalist.